You were just talking about finding use cases for on-chain, and like that's one of the lowest hanging fruits for getting yourself into the industry. So I just want to double click on the finding the useful use cases for on-chain. So what do you think that might be?
Well, one of the obvious use cases for an on-chain smart contract is in arbitrating a derivatives contract,
right? Which
I think of mathematically as just any contract that involves a bet on the price of an asset. So a natural thing, we actually talked about this before, a natural thing that could happen is that derivatives contracts of all types of assets, and not just on-chain assets, are arbitrated on-chain.
Right.
It could totally do this.
And the U.S. government is already sort of in the process and in the midst of doing something like this.
Well, I hope so. I mean, I think so.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
Just the lowest hanging fruit. It
makes sense. The main point is that the arbitrating what the price of an asset is easy because it's a very objective black and white thing. So that's very appropriate to be arbitrated on a smart contract.
So let's get imaginative then. Like, are there other examples of things that we can bring on chain that's not derivatives markets or finance related?
The one thing that I've been thinking of for years, and there are some projects on blockchains regarding this, is we should arbitrate Airbnb type short-term rental contracts on chain. There's no difference between that and then what Airbnb does, except that a smart contract can do it with a lower fee. So, if you're an owner of a property, you could list on Airbnb and then also list on chain, and then anyone who does the on-chain contract, coupled with some arbitrator that's mutually agreed upon, you could save 10% of the fee, or save half the fee and only pay 10% instead of 20%. Like, if you could get people to just extract the benefit of the technology we already have, and then then they get the more rentals because they're charging a lower price. That eventually forces everyone else to do it. If you're into this, use it to your advantage, and then for now, that's your benefit. And then as more people use it, more people get that benefit.
Why hasn't that been built yet?
Well, that's kind of a question that's like, I can't really give an answer to why. I can only speculate. But it seems to me it's mostly just a matter of nobody wants to do it because nobody does it. But if everybody did it, it would be totally normal that everybody did it. So how do you get this kind of flip? And I can only brainstorm ways that this could happen. But then once it happens, I think we're stuck. We're going to be doing that forever because we're stuck in.
Once we're on chain, we're on chain.
We're on chain.
Everything's going to be on chain
because it's better that way, because it's cheaper, and then no one would ever go back to doing something in a more expensive way. Just as we don't revert back to using horse and carriage to get around the city now that we have cars.
I love that analogy.
Cars are better.
Yeah.
But there's a similar thing that happens with social media sites. There's only a few because there's a network effect, and there can't be that many. And if you try to make another one, it doesn't really work, and it kind of fails.
Yep.
And that always happens because you need a network effect. And for smart contracts to be used and trusted, you kind of need a little bit of a social effect. People kind of say, well, this is how we do it, so you just do it. Okay, so here's a few ways it could happen. It could come top down. Like maybe a major company decides to be a platform for running smart contracts. Like say Airbnb switches to smart contracts. And maybe they think investing in being an arbitrator oracle in smart contract is the best long-term decision.
Airbnb.
And then they decide to do it.
Yeah.
And they decide to do it, right? Maybe a country decides that it's actually a better way to do dispute resolution on chain than it is to a decentralized third party. And so some country that wants to embrace cryptocurrency maybe says the law is that all Airbnb style contracts must be on chain.
Yeah.
And then that immediately gives rise to an industry of arbitrators, which presumably would compete. And unlike with Airbnb, not have a monopoly on arbitration. And so that's another possibility. Some other possibilities. Potentially, you could get President Trump to direct some of the regulators. Is it the SEC that does this? Whoever does it, whoever claims jurisdiction on this, decide to make it a law that you have to do derivatives contracts on chain. And then I think what you get is a kind of, if you've heard the term preference cascade, once some people start using this, and then it makes sense to use it, and they save money doing it, and they save legal costs doing it, then all others must do it, or they can't compete, because it would be inefficient. This is how all markets become efficient.
It's how the internet took hold of the world.
If you don't use the internet, and you're just using mail or like a pigeon to communicate information when you could just send a text, you're going to be way behind and miss the important things.
There's a soundbite.
You're not going to be able to compete.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think this will happen. I think it should happen. But again, as I've said before, my expertise is in the mathematics of blockchains And this is a social phenomenon. So I'm probably not the best person to ask how to do this, other than to say, okay, I can say that the math doesn't tell you to do this. The math doesn't tell you that you have to get a president to do this. This is an outside thing. Okay, there's a point I'm trying to get with that. It's like parts of these things are these solid computable things, and parts of these things, yeah, exactly. Parts of these things are concrete, computable, black and white things. And those are the kinds of things I can write about, I can work on. But there's a layer.
Social layer stuff.
That layer, it's more complex.
Yeah.
And
not so black and white.
It's not so black and white.
You can't make a cause-effect XY prediction.
But maybe, maybe if you're not into mathematics, maybe that's the skill that you have and that's what you want to do, right? So
the social layer stuff?
Yeah, maybe you want to work on, maybe there's a way
icky.
to, now, well, of course, then you could just be like an influencer that's like saying like Coinbase or whatever. I don't want
what I'm doing right now.
Exactly, right, exactly.
Fuck, you just threw me under the bus right there.
Well, I mean, you can do this. Well, okay, here's a question then. What do you do to change the social layer? If you're an influencer, how would you do that?
Yeah, that's a great question. That's a really good question. As a social layer player, influencer, as Chris would say, what I can do is just continue to put out content like this and put out crypto education like this to try and get more people bullish as fuck about crypto.
In a way, just doing it gives some legitimacy to the idea of it. But again, we're at this tipping point. At some point, the thing that you could do right now with what we've got becomes what we do with what we've got.
Yeah.
And then we get the benefits of that. The other thing is that I think what you get with this type of technology is if you're making legal systems 1,000 times cheaper, roughly speaking, right? If you make legal systems 1,000 times cheaper, then it's not just your legal costs become 1,000 times less. It becomes, you have new industries that become economically viable after that. There's new things you can do, new kind of economic connections that can be made that otherwise never existed. And that's what you want to get from all of this.
Great.
Is that a good, like?
Yeah, it's a great answer. All right, crypto has been a thing for over a decade now. Smart contracts have been a real thing for at least 7 years now, if not more than that. And yet crypto is in this state of like, what are we doing here?
Not yet full adoption.
Yeah.
But still, there's this like subgroup of people who widely use it. We think that there will be mass adoption, but it isn't there yet, and it's still a little bit fringe.
Yeah. Fringe and cringe.
Yeah. So exactly. That's a good word, actually. Cringe. It's a bit cringe still.
Yeah.
Even though I do research in it. I work with universities on this. And here's the one thing that I think crypto needs, and it's a very easy method to prevent a very common type of scam that has affected people I know who've lost significant money. And it's obvious, it's easy, and I can't believe we haven't done it yet. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's the type of scam that it is. The security of a smart contract is that you have to sign a digital contract in order for you to move the money. And if you don't sign a digital contract, the money can't go anywhere. And the idea is that
the on-chain word for that is like authorizing a transaction or signing for a transaction.
Yeah. So you have to authorize a transaction, but the problem is that most users of a smart contract
don't fall down.
Most users of a smart contract don't read code and don't have time to read it. Okay.
Sorry.
No worries. So what you could do is, can we go down there?
Should we go down there?
Let's finish this thing and then we'll go down there.
Okay.
So the question is, what do you do? Why not just have every smart contract associated with written text in English explaining what it is? Make it part of the standard of a smart contract. There's like a part of the data structure has just in plain English text that explains exactly what it does. Now, but here's a problem with that.
You can write anything.
Okay. And then you have a decentralized set of oracles associated with your wallet that can accredit a smart contract that says that the smart contract is what that text says. Now the weakness...
Or could be like AI integrated to like verify that too.
Certainly an AI that was local to your computer that could verify that English word describes what the smart contract is. That could be a way to implement it as well. But the point is that however it's done, it's like the idea is that a smart contract should be a simple program that is easily auditable, that has no ambiguity, and the only problem is that almost nobody knows how to read the code. So they can easily be tricked by a phishing email to sign. They think what they're doing is accepting something because that was presented to them as that this contract is accepting some airdrop, for example. But actually what it's doing is it's just a contract that sends the scam artists all your money in your wallet. There's nothing to prevent them from saying that in the fundamental algorithm. But if you put as part of your convention for running a smart contract, you look at some oracles or some AI tool that you trust separately to audit the contract and audit its description, then that mitigates this risk. It's a simple solution. I don't think it's been done yet, although if it has been done, I'd love to know about it. And I think that just becomes standard.
And you think that will bring about broad adoption of crypto?
Well, you know, what brings about broad adoption is the sum of all the things.
Yeah.
But one of the things you need to do is have a level of user friendliness and fraud proofness.
100%.
And this is a simple, easy thing to do using, there's no special cryptographic algorithm needed for this. You need digital signatures for the accredited auditors.
Yeah.
You need auditing skill to understand how to write a smart contract. Well, there's people who know how to do that. And then you just need to integrate this into standard wallets. And then the wallets give you a green light for any smart contract that gives you a proper description. You know, that's a simple thing, but it's like
who's doing it?
I don't know. I don't know who's doing it. But anyways, like
Just more of a statement to the camera.
Exactly. Who's doing it?
Yeah.